The year is 2025. It's January, a new year has just dawned, I'm still young and full of hope. Okay, not really. But that is the time I decided to finally finish the Pokémon Emerald Dragon-Only Nuzlocke. Having just spent weeks in the lab trying to come up with the best and most creative solution I could to solve a problem that was seemingly impossible. But the response to that video was pretty mixed, actually. I mean, I personally enjoyed it, and my own satisfaction is what keeps me making these videos and challenges in the first place, but the comments did rightfully call me out by saying that they were not personally satisfied with the solution that I had come up with for that specific challenge. Howdy everyone, my name is Keeper, and yes, I did just get a haircut, but if I get too self-conscious about it, I'm gonna put this hat on about halfway through the recording and nobody's gonna say anything, although it's actually not a bad look to pull off, is it? But that dissatisfaction is actually the entire beauty of challenge runs in the first place. In following my own personal rules to a T, to the letter, that run is perfectly fine. In fact, I'll go so far as to double down and say that yes, I'm really proud of that video, of that challenge, and the work I put into it. Because, man, it was fucking creative. It was fun to do. It was fun to come up with. Maybe you're watching this video well after the fact, because that video did come out, like I said, over a year ago now. So just a quick recap in case you're not familiar. Basically, I allowed myself to catch an HM buddy, as you are allowed to in any Nuzlocke, but this one was specifically a Zigzagoon with the ability pickup. Then I followed the extreme of the rules that I personally follow for HM buddies, and kinda just spam status moves against wild Pokemon until they knocked themselves out, and the HM buddy could earn experience without ever attacking in battle. By repeating this process way too many times... Oh, hey buddy, you be in this too? Oh, okay, he hurts. Lay down. Upon reaching level 100, our buddy Rocket the Zigzagoon could then use his pickup ability to get all kinds of items for us in that run. Again, without technically needing to battle at all. One such item that made that run possible was the TM for Earthquake, which we could then teach to our Trapinch. Trapinch, our starter for the run, has a massive 100 base attack and stab on Earthquake. Being able to learn it. Are you going down now? You're kind of like considering it. No, you're just going to sit on that shoulder. I think I am going to put you down, buddy. Okay. Goodbye. I love you. Trapinch is one of actually very few basic evolving Pokemon that can learn Earthquake. Most of them are ground type, obviously. With the ability to use his massive attack stat on the massive base power of Earthquake with stab, yeah, kind of steamrolls most of the beginning of the game. In fact, most of the game just in general. And even though that was the biggest item we could get from pickup, we also got TMs for rest, we got herbs, we got leftovers, really anything we could really want. Now, hearing that or watching the video, you're in one of two camps. You either heard the explanation and nodded along, thinking like I did, huh, that's pretty cool. Or you recoiled in disgust because you could never imagine your favorite Nuzlocker doing such a thing, so who is this weirdo on the internet putting that baloney out there for forcing you to see it? And, wow, harsh. You know what people didn't question though, was my choice of starter. I chose Trapinch to start that run with, despite the fact that Swablu is technically the first dragon family or dragon adjacent Pokemon that you would naturally have access to. And I got around that by being pretty on the letter with that rule too, saying that the first route I can access with a Pokemon of our type would be the one we would use, but obviously that gets a little iffy when you can only access half of the route at a time. Of course, I don't want to dwell on that too much because that last point has basically become null and void as I've done more research into these runs. You can kind of start with whatever Pokemon you want, but for the rules that I laid out and was following at the time, Trapinch should not have actually been viable either. And to back up that point, when I put that video out, I really thought the Trapinch would be the one to get the most comments about it, especially since the Ice-type Emerald run I had just done before made such a big deal about the starters that I started the run with. Pretty sure in the Ice video I took on that game in like 5 different ways just to find all the possible combinations to beat it, so maybe ignoring that rule in the next video would have seemed weird, but apparently not, and that's okay. I like Trapinch. No, it was the Zigzagoon thing, right? Using an HM buddy in battle, even if you're not attacking, kind of a no-no. I get it. But as I was reading through and discussing these things in the comments of that video, because I absolutely love talking to you guys in the comments, so please comment down below whatever you think of this video too. Shameless plug. But then a helpful comment actually pointed out battling with Pokemon wasn't even really necessary. If you can use Trapinch without Earthquake to brute force your way through Roxanne, which I actually did prove is possible in that same video, Swablu takes out Brawly anyway, so whether you have Earthquake or not doesn't really matter. Then the only roadblock is actually the rival fight getting you into Mauville. And admittedly, I have not limit tested how possible that would be, but I'm assuming, you know, Probably. Point is, if you can use Trapinch to get past Roxanne and the rival fight, once you get into Mauville, you have immediate access to the daycare. And the daycare would let you level up your Zigzagoon to level 100 without ever needing to use it in battle at all, attacking moves or not. You would then still have Earthquake available to you for the incredibly difficult Electric and Fire gyms that were coming up next. You know, the gyms that make it impossible. But surprise to me again, that was not the part of the solution that people took issue with. The problem wasn't the fact that the HM buddy was leveled however you did it. The problem was utilizing that buddy in ways that benefited the rest of the run. And that kind of tears me down the middle just a little bit. On one hand, I realize that limited resources are the lifeblood of Nuzlocke in the first place, and challenge runs in any video game ever, so, you know, that tracks. On the other hand, it really rubs me the wrong way to give an inherent advantage to players that just happen to be using a rule set that includes that Pokemon. If you choose a rule set that allows you to use a pickup Pokemon or utilize it in this way, then you have access to a resource that nobody else does, whether that's through random chance or purposeful choice. Is it right that the normal type Monotype Nuzlocke could utilize this tool and no other run could? I don't know. But after a while, I came to a conclusion that I've actually kept pretty consistent with in recent videos. Maybe you haven't even noticed. Generally speaking, Pokemon, by the nature of how it's designed, is not a fair game. By that I mean the individual Pokemon themselves are simply not created equally. As you increase the difficulty of a challenge, those inherent strengths and weaknesses become way more apparent. It was actually a topic that got me started with this channel in the first place, those F-tier runs, utilizing what tools those Pokemon did have available to them and trying to highlight them, showing what purpose and utility that generally bad Pokemon could still bring to the challenge. Yes, it highlighted their flaws and why they're generally considered weaker, but it also highlighted the strengths they have that allow them to accomplish the same things that even the greatest Pokemon can. Even with that in mind, like I said, those runs highlight both the strengths and the weaknesses of those Pokemon. They become more apparent because you've increased the difficulty of the challenge, because you have restricted your resources. And that's because Pokemon is not fair. It's that way on purpose. It's by design. It makes sense. And when I put it into that perspective, I can't help but agree. If I needed to cheese a level up rule to access something, that's one thing, right? If I need to cheese that rule for a resource that I shouldn't have available to me in the first place, that's another. Basically what it boils down to is, if you are going out of your way to make a challenge difficult by limiting the Pokemon available, you are limiting the resources you have available to you as well. You are forcing yourself into a situation that is inevitably favored to somebody else's run. That's the point. It's why we take on the challenges that we do, not to try to be better than somebody else doing something, just to try to do it differently. It's the same idea behind like move tutors, right? Every run may have access to the same move tutors, but the Pokemon you have available limit which moves from those tutors you can learn in the first place. It's the same idea. And all that is obvious to me now, obviously, but the rules I was more worried about following for those videos in the first place was mostly super restrictive on which Pokemon I could use and when, to the point where instead of looking for solutions that could maybe change the Pokemon I had available, I looked for solutions that could make the Pokemon I gave myself to be available more viable to use. I decided to use external resources instead of the ones available to me, not thinking about what that could mean in the long term. I don't know if any of that really made sense to any of you, but was it a creative solution? Yes, absolutely. Again, loved that run, loved the rule. Yeah, it was just a good time. And I do these videos for fun in the first place, right? Like, that's why we're here. That's at least why I'm here. You're here to hit the like button. Gotcha. All these rules of Pokemon Nuzlocke's challenges, I mean, they're all made up anyway, right? They all differ person to person, game by game, run by run. In fact, the idea that I'm talking about it this in-depth anyway is kind of just a moot point, isn't it? But with that being said, is this Nuzlocke truly legitimate if it's not playing into the limitations of the type that it's chosen to do its challenge with in the first place? I use the term legitimate around here pretty loosely, for the record. Your challenge is always legitimate if you're having fun doing it. Don't let any naysayers tell you otherwise. But no, obviously I'm talking about me specifically. Do I feel satisfied with what I did for this challenge? This challenge has been nagging in the back of my mind for a few months now. I take on these challenges because I want to feel satisfied with the conclusion. And then I make videos about those challenges because I want to share the satisfactory conclusion that I came up with. If I'm no longer satisfied with something I've done, then yeah, the itch to see it through is still there, and I can't really reach it by myself, so I appreciate the help. So yeah, I'm gonna want to follow up, and I'm going to want to do it better. This isn't me giving in to any mean comments, not that any of you were actually that mean to me. I appreciate your feedback, really. And this also isn't me invalidating the previous attempt. That's never the case with any of these videos. I always try to make clear, I'm never trying to say that I did something better than somebody else did, even if that somebody else in this case is myself. So I guess this maybe could be the one exception. No, I take these challenges on because I want to do them my way, and that way is always going to be unique to me every single time I do it. Creative solutions are fun to make, they're fun to theory craft, they're fun to share, but the point I'm wanting to make to myself is that those creative solutions can still be found within the constraints I put myself under. I don't always need to break that extra wall down to find the solution. Sometimes the fun wall to break down is the one inside the house. Kind of a weird way to describe it, but that's what came to mind just now. It is fun to stretch your boundaries from time to time, but sometimes real innovation comes from staying within those boundaries instead. There are so many ways to approach any one of these given challenges, right? And returning to one with a new perspective, a fresh look at something, at the rules I've given myself, it's good, it's fun. In a way, it's even more fulfilling than it was the first time I did it. Yes, creative solutions and workarounds are the lifeblood of what I want to do here on the channel, really. It's honestly the reason why I enjoy coming back to these games at all, even well before I even recorded or streamed them. And those kinds of solutions will still find their way into these challenges in the future. I'm absolutely certain of it. And a lot of them you may still not totally agree with. And that's okay. Honestly, that's the fun of it all. That's the conversation to be had. Trying solutions that we never would have thought of, honestly, in problems that we create for ourselves in these games made for literal children. Now, honestly, I've already talked for way too long, and I've probably cut out a lot of me repeating myself because I just like talking, I guess. But honestly, this is a follow-up video, right? And I think it's important to retrace our steps to figure out why we're back here in the first place. It's not a full recap that I could give in one video. I highly recommend you check out my previous Monotype and Impossible Nuzlocks, because throughout the entire journey of doing this series, I have found and ironed out new rules, new solutions, new ways to approach things that have made every iteration of that challenge better than the last. And part of that is why I'm so excited to return to this one in particular, because even though there are many rules now that would probably make some of those other challenges even easier than they were when I took them on, that's the one that I'm still not satisfied with. And with that being said, this probably will be a shorter run because of it, mostly highlighting what's different because of those rule changes and simplifications, but also because we've kind of already done this run before. In fact, if we're talking Emerald just in general, we've done it many times before. So yeah, no, I'm getting a little tired of hoeing, I can't lie. So let's just jump into it. Let's start the Pokémon Emerald Dragon-Only Nuzlocke again, but this time without pickup items. And our starter, Bagon. As I already discussed briefly, Trapinch and Swablu could take out the first few gyms for themselves if you get lucky with bite flinches, attack misses, and landing sings, I guess. You'd also probably have to find some way around Manectric that honestly I couldn't be bothered to think of right now, because you're never outspeeding that thing. Horsey is also technically an option to start the game with, but since it doesn't evolve until 32 and you fight Watson at 24 and that's a water type against electric, then yeah, you're not getting that done either. None of those solutions would be fun to play and even more boring to watch. So yeah, we're not even recapping those. And yeah, those are all the dragons available. Bagon is the only one left. I'll admit, going into this challenge, not super confident that he can do it either, but we have no other options. So yeah, he's our best bet and only remaining choice. So can I beat a hardcore Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke with only Dragon-type Pokemon one more time? Today, we find out. We set off on our grand new adventure by rescuing Professor Birch from the harmless raccoon dog as we command our baby dragon to literally eat it. We are then gifted said baby dragon by said professor. We name her Ray. Ray is quite strong for this point of the game. 75 base attack is nothing to scoff at. Unfortunately, her best move is Bite, which is a special move in Generation 3. So it's only hitting off of Bagon's pathetic special attack stat of 40. Oh well. But hey, she's not alone. We're still making use of our one event Pokemon pickup, the same one we did in our previous attempt at this challenge, and we grabbed the Swablu egg from Pokemon Box and hatch it right away. We name him Winston. Winston won't see much use for a little while, but like, who doesn't appreciate a good emotional support cotton ball, right? Ray is good enough to fight through the Team Aqua Grunt in Petalburg Woods and get us into Rustboro City. But well, maybe you're thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. Roxanne is a problem. Her Pokemon may have lower special defense than physical defense, but does that really matter when, like I said, Ray's special attack is almost half of her physical attack? No. The answer is no. Last time we took on this challenge, Trapinch had two paths to get through Roxanne: Earthquake, which basically one-shot everything for a free win, or Lucky Bite flinches. Guess which path Bagon is forced to follow today? With only Rage, Bite, and Leer to her name, Ray bravely faces off against Roxanne's 3 rock types, successfully taking down her first Geodude, barely scraping by but still picking up the win against her second, and then, dying almost immediately to Nosepass. Roxanne just deals too much damage and has too many resources available to her between her 3 Pokemon. She's also got potions, the ability to drop her speed, and without some lucky flinches or attack misses, we cannot win. But this is only the first gym. It doesn't take long to get back here. We got time. Cue the montage. Attempt number 9 breaks through, successfully winning us the first gym badge. Phew! All things considered, this fight doesn't actually require that much RNG. Rock Tomb only has an 80% chance to hit anyway, plus you gotta account for the fact you might crit, right? So odds are you can probably get through this fight, I'd say on average in less than a dozen attempts. This certainly is not a Diglett versus Hala situation. And honestly, it's not the worst bit of RNG this run is going to have to rely on, but that's a problem for future Keeper. God, I hope he's okay. Oh, and Ray is a dude now. We support his life choices. Our next major trial is awaiting us in Dewford Town, but we do of course have a method to our madness at this point of the game. We deliver our letter to Mr. Stevenstone, who I'm sure we will never see again, and then command our private captain to take us straight to Slateport. Here we can buy vitamins from the Energy Guru, my favorite person in the entire region, and that gives us enough drugs to pump into our bird that we can sail right on back to Dewford and take on Gym Leader Brawley with Winston. There isn't much to say about this fight, really, and that's going to be a recurring theme in this run. We land a few pecks, a few sings, we trick Brawley into wasting his potions by keeping his Meditite alive, and Makuhita falls pretty quickly afterward. Honestly, that'll probably be the last time anything goes over easily for us though, as we can't even get into Mauville without this girl deciding to stop us in our tracks. Who are you again? Unfortunately for her, Ray has a new move, and Headbutt has a whopping 70 base power, which is honestly pretty good for the early to mid game. And it's physical. Lombre, Slugma, and Marsh Stomp fall one right after the other. May is, never really a threat in any timeline, is she? Mauville City reveals that we are in fact a gambling addict, but thanks to that fact, we have access to every Game Corner TM, and that's pretty damn good for us. Because you see, Bagon learns Flamethrower. If we've learned anything about Watson in our various treks through this region, it's the fact that if you get a Pokemon that learns Flamethrower, his problem Pokemon become much easier to deal with. Not to mention, Bagon is also naturally equipped with an electric resistance, so that's pretty cool. But that's not the only TM we're getting use out of, as we've also taught Little Ray Double Team, also from the Game Corner, and Rock Tomb, the TM we earned from Roxanne. Leading off against Watson's Voltorb, it's important that we lower its speed first, and Rock Tomb allows us to do that easily. Voltorb isn't too likely to explode at full health, but as it takes damage, that chance increases. We deal enough damage that on the next turn, now that we outspeed, we can quickly take out the Voltorb before it even has the chance to consider it. Electrike is out next, and this is gonna be the first, and definitely not the last, time that we make use of really the only setup move we're gonna get access to on this run. At least for a while. Our Dragon typing gives us the resistance to take shockwaves, and by raising our evasion, we also raise the chance that Watson selects that move, as it will never miss. We continue to double our team while Electrike howls, leers, shockwaves, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now we want to specifically take out the dog with Flamethrower, as we don't have the one-shot with Headbutt anyway, and this will ensure that we don't proc its static ability. We're trying to save our held Cherry Berry for as long as possible. Magneton is up to bat after that, and again we have the 2-hit. We're just hoping to dodge one Thunder Wave between it and Manectric, and we dodge the very first one as Magneton fails to paralyze us. Sadly, Watson does not take the bait to use up his potions, but that's alright. Probably. Manectric is Watson's ace, and we can again ensure that we outspeed it by first attacking with Rock Tomb, at least until it inevitably paralyzes us. We do get pretty lucky on that front too though, with Manectric missing 3 Thunder Waves in a row as we continue to spam Flamethrower, which actually manages to get the burn as well. Amazing. Watson does his best to hold on for quite a while with Manectric's Citrus Berry and his 2 super potions, but we've already had way more than enough good fortune for us to lock up the fight. But if you thought that was cheesy, just you wait till you see what I got planned for Flannery. Though that will have to wait for a minute, as first we're sent on a quick mission up to the volcano to take down Team Magma. But Ray isn't the only one to have learned new tricks from Mauville, as Winston the Swablu can learn Ice Beam. No, I do not know why, but it does prove to be very effective against Magma's hordes of Numel and Zubat. Not that Ray couldn't also handle these, well, threats is a strong word. Maxie is waiting at the end of the fiery path, and we're leading with Winston just to avoid Ray getting intimidated. But we also have the chance to put his lead Mightyena to sleep, so we take it and actually land the attack. Of course, it wakes up pretty much immediately, so it's kinda for nothing, but whatever. I can still feel good about it hitting. A couple Ice Beams put the dog in range for Maxie to heal, and that buys us a turn that we can use to put it right back to sleep. Which was pretty unnecessary since I could have just taken the 2 turns to knock it out, but let's be real. I'm only ever going to land the things that don't matter, so let's just enjoy it when it happens. Zubat is allergic to the cold, so that falls too, but Camerupt is where things can get tricky. We stay in while it uses focus energy, but since we can survive even a critical hit Ember, we stay in and deal whatever damage we can. That critical hit comes through right away though, so we switch out to bring in Ray, who himself will fell the camel in just 2 headbutts. That fiery combatant was just a taste of what's to come though, as we head into Lava Ridge and face off against Flannery. Finally. And remember what I said about cheesy strategies? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm both extremely proud for having come up with this one, and also deeply ashamed of the fact that it worked. First, you gotta know that I went back and picked up the TM for Attract from this lady in Verdanturf. Now, you might already see where we're going with that, but wait a second. We lead the fight against Flannery with Winston. Numel has the Oblivious ability, which prevents it from being infatuated, but that's okay. Numel is going to want to set up Sunny Day, which gives us 2 turns to try to put it to sleep, so we may as well take the shot. And we manage to put it to sleep right away, which prevents the immediate setup. We then want to bring it in range of a 1-shot from Ray, so we attack with 1 Secret Power, and turns out Winston is just going to 1-shot the camel with a critical hit. Whoops. Well, okay, that's fine. Numel is the easiest one to set up on, but it isn't the only one we can do it with. Slugma, though, is not a candidate, since the chance that it has to poison us prevents us from bringing Ray out at all. So you know what, Winston? This one you can kill. Oh, and with another critical hit. Great. Then we've got to face Camerupt. Just like Numel before it, we're gonna try to put it to sleep and go from there. Our first Sing misses because of course now we get unlucky, and the sun is set up. That's fine, I mean, no way we miss 2 Sings in a row, right? We do? Well, it was bound to happen eventually. At this point, Sun Boosted Overheat does 1-shot Winston, but it actually doesn't KO Ray. And to be completely honest with you, I've got nothing left to lose. Either the cheese works, or we answer the call from Roxanne and start our double-digit attempt. All of Flannery's Pokemon are female. Because of this, both her Camerupt and Torkoal carry Attract, which is not really great for us because now both of our Pokemon are male, but actually we can use this to our advantage and turn the tables on them instead, because we can actually use Attract ourselves to permanently infatuate Flannery's Pokemon, giving us a 50% chance of avoiding their attacks altogether. Of course, the turn that Ray uses it, Camerupt attacks anyway, but it just goes for Tackle. Maybe Overheat really doesn't KO at this range after the special attack drop, or maybe Flannery's AI is just weird because, yeah, it's definitely done shit like this in the past. Either way though, the plan now is to just stack as many double team boosts as we can to give us another major chance of dodging damage, if the attack ever goes through at all. At +6 evasion, we gain an additional 66% chance on top of the already 50% chance that we have from Attract. And it works. Camerupt can't land a single attack as we boost our evasion. To make matters worse for poor Flannery, our attack of choice is, obviously, Headbutt, a move with a built-in 30% chance to flinch. So that's a 30% on top of 66% on top of 50% chance. A quick probability calculator I found tells me that's about a 92% chance to not get hit at all, but I don't know. I'm not a mathologist. All I know is it's good enough odds for me. That is until Camerupt actually does land another attack, which is crazy to me if that 92% chance is accurate, but even crazier than that, it's still only Tackle. Flannery is a paid actor, I swear, but not by me, which, what are the implications of that? Flannery uses up both Hyper Potions trying to keep Camerupt alive, but it just does not matter, and eventually it does give in to the repeated headbutting. Last in is Torkoal, and you know that we're about to do the exact same thing. Attract first, and then headbutt after headbutt after headbutt. This time, not even a single attack goes through. Flannery is out of potions, And though we do run out of Headbutt PP, a final attack from Rock Tomb seals the deal. We've obtained a 4th badge without the need for Earthquake and secured our first evolution out of it as well. And if you thought that was the end of the cheesy shenanigans, well, you'd be right, actually. For the most part, anyway. Now that we're given the Go Goggles, we get access to the desert area of Route 11, where we can finally catch Egon the Trapinch inside of Mirage Tower. And he's just in time to learn Dig off of our TM, as now we'll be facing off against Norman back in Petalburg. Time for badge number 5. And now we actually have 2 possible answers to Norman's slacking, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. First, we gotta deal with the rest of his Pokemon. Spinda would be pretty easy for us to 2-shot, but we want to bait out some of Norman's potions early if at all possible. Flamethrower keeps him alive, and though the confusion forces us to switch, it is on a free turn while Norman does heal. Winston can come back in, but Norman won't take the bait twice on the same Pokemon, so a few Seeker Powers will take out Spinda. Vigoroth is out next, and we stay in as long as we can, knocking it all the way down into the red. But we can't put this one to sleep because it has Vital Spirit. Winston is put in KO range because of that, and we really need to be careful here, as ideally we want Ray to be out when the next Pokemon comes in anyway. Not knowing if Norman would heal here or not on this turn, we take the time to switch. Vigoroth is not healed, and that's alright. We just take a bit of extra damage as we knock it out the next turn. The actually scary Pokemon is in next, and is why we wanted Ray to be out in front while we face it. Linoon has Belly Drum, and if we're not careful, it will run away with the match. It outspeeds us, that's the first problem. Norman actually still has a potion, and it actually isn't guaranteed to Belly Drum here at all. There's a lot of factors here. The safest play we have is to lead off with Rock Tomb, so no matter what Linoon tries to do, we'll be faster in the following turns. Of course, it does go for Belly Drum, cutting its own HP in half and knocking it into the red after our attack, which means Headbutt probably would have killed here, but whatever, doesn't matter. We outspeed the next turn, and there it is, Norman's last potion. Joke's on him though, now that we outspeed, Flamethrower and a Headbutt kills anyway, but we get the burn and the crit just for good measure. With Linoon unable to land a single attack, Norman's Ace Slacking steps up to take its place. But unfortunately for him, we have one of our 2 answers right here already in front of it. Shelgon belongs to one of my favorite groups of Pokemon, those that learn the move Protect naturally, meaning we aren't even solely relying on Dig for this fight like we normally have to. Ray can protect on Slacking's attacking turns and then fire off his own attacks on the turns that the Sloth can't move at all. It is a slow but steady pace, and with Norman helpless to land any attacks on 2 Pokemon in a row, it is all over. We now have the first 5 badges of Hoenn, the HM for Surf, and the absolute hardest part of any Emerald Nuzlocke is officially over. The first half of this run starts with a good bit of RNG, and the second half ends with a whole helping of cheese. But no matter how you dice it, Bagon and Swablu are in fact able to get through the part of the game that, previously, I was only able to conquer thanks to the crazy power of Trapinch's base 100 attack and Earthquake. And this Norman fight? That's where we previously lost our precious Swablu. This is new territory for the bird. We might even get to use an Altaria. Now the whole rest of the region is opened up, we've got some bad guys to take down, a few more badges to obtain, and our last stop will be the Elite Four. At this point though, it's safe to say that the run won't be too much different from my previous attempt. A whole lot of it we could take on pretty much the exact same way. We're not going to, but we could. After effortlessly taking down Team Aqua in the Weather Institute and winning the rival fight right after, sorry May, we enter Fortree City. Now last time, with only 1 Pokemon available to us, we overleveled and were not able to challenge this gym right away. Not that we really would have wanted to anyway, since Winona is pretty scary, actually. She's much easier for us to loop back around to later once we catch an evolved Horsey, who we can still get within her level cap. However, if I'm trying to cut as many loopholes as possible from this run, this is one loose end that I think we could close up to. So screw it, Winona time. Ray is a strong lead with Rock Tomb, but it isn't even necessary for Swablu as Headbutt will 2-shot it anyway. Though Winona throws a wrench in that plan by using Perish Song, so that's kinda not cool. We bring out Egon since his HP doesn't really matter for this fight, and we don't quite get the KO, but that's okay. When Winona is forced to switch in on the last turn of the song, we bring Ray right back in for free to be ready for the next incoming opponent. Except Winona doesn't switch. She actually tries to heal instead, so that was really interesting to me. Is the AI set to prioritize healing when low over switching during Perish Song? Never an interaction I've had come up before, so genuinely has me curious. Anyway, Swablu's count falls to 0 and it faints, despite the Hyper Potion. And so this brings in the evolved form, Altaria. It does have a super effective stab move of Dragon Breath, but our one saving grace is that it is a special move and is thus not buffed as it goes for Dragon Dance. So we stay in to fire off Rock Tombs. Why not? The breath hits and paralyzes us the next turn, but thanks to our Citrus, I know we can take one more. We hit through paralysis to land a second tomb, and the third turn, Altaria goes for another Dragon Dance. and it falls as we land the third hit. Dragon trainers and using Dragon Dance on the turn they're going to die anyway. Name a more iconic duo. AI just love their status moves, man. Tropius is out next, and we have no reason to swap. In fact, we use the sun that it sets up against it as we fire off boosted flamethrowers that knock it out in 2 turns. Pelipper just wants to protect as many turns as possible, but Winona does heal it after we land a critical hit as well. Then it confuses us with Supersonic, and that's enough playing around with chance for me. Paralyzed and confused, we swap out to Winston, and another secret power takes it out. Skarmory is Winona's last Pokemon, and it falls pretty quickly to Winston's Ice Beam. Our new level cap lets our other 2 babies evolve into the dragons they were always destined to become, and just in time too. We're able to effortlessly and carefully dodge every trainer on our way to Lily Cove City, and I want my Protect TM, so we're going to have to beat our rival up one final time to get them. But yeah, not much for me to say here. Ray kinda solos her whole team, and she still uses a Slugma. Yikes. The next stretch of the game is honestly one of the more boring parts of Emerald. At least as far as battles are concerned. I mean, come on, we're all thinking it. Climb up Mount Pyre, scare off Team Aqua, grab a medallion, climb up Mount Chimney, scare off Team Magma, and okay, we'll pause for a second, there's kind of a boss fight here. Maxie's second encounter is a good bit tougher than his first, but the lead Mightyena doesn't affect Winston too badly. That allows us to spam Dragon Breaths until the dog falls, even managing to waste one of Maxie's potions in the process. We swap out Egon on the expected rock slide, and though the hit is resisted, it does still crit. Which kinda sucks, but whatever. We do get to land a dig for good damage while Camerupt boosts its special defense, and then Maxie again uses another super potion, and again it doesn't matter because again we still have a KO with one more attack. Again. Crobat proves to be a bit of a pain though, confusing Ray and forcing us to hit ourselves in confusion. Twice. So we swap back out to Winston, who actually manages to freeze the Crobat with Ice Beam. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's pretty cool that we're able to freeze something next to this pool of lava. The last obstacle before our next gym is this Aqua admin that we corner in. Wait a minute, where the fuck am I? Weren't we just in a volcano? Matt is nothing to talk about though, and that's probably why you don't even remember that this is Matt at all, or even who Matt really is. So guess we're leaving. Cool. Finally freed from the railroaded grasp of evil team storytelling stuff, we can cross the ocean into Moss Deep City. The first thing we want to do here is grab the super rod from this kind fisherman, then immediately fly right back to Slateport. Just off the coast, we can use our shiny new super rod and fish up, eventually, a Horsey, rounding off our encounters by catching Peter and evolving him all the way into a beautiful Kingdra. The last time we took on the twins in our dragon run, Kingdra was the key to a quick success, and this time, yeah, it won't be much different. And also this time, we have an Altaria. Surf and Ice Beam are enough to double into Xatu and knock it into the red, which forces the leaders to heal on the next turn. The same turn that we fire off a second Surf and take down the Claydol on the other side. But then, sadly, oh, who am I kidding? Xatu falls to Ice Beam and the last 2 Pokemon are rocks. They drown in the surf and we quickly walk away with our 7th badge. And this may surprise you. Okay, probably not. But Kingdra is just like a really good Pokemon, and especially shines in doubles. The Team Magma tag battle with Steven, hi Steven, goes about as smoothly as it possibly could. And you know what, while I'm feeling feisty, I better spread the love back over to Team Aqua too. Where are they? Bottom of the ocean? Say no more. In the deepest trenches of the ocean we come across, oh hey look, the TM for Earthquake. Finally! We obviously teach this to Egon, now a Flygon, right away. Wow, that name worked out great. Not intentional. Oh, yeah, also the Sea God is down here, and so is Archie, so fight time. But I'm sure we all know the drill by now. Peter is the GOAT. Archie thinks he's the water guy. Boy, does he have another thing coming. Really, even his Sharpedo falls to surf. Speaking of water guys, look at that rain. And then we got demons in the ocean and snakes in the sky. Just a normal Tuesday here in Hoenn, I suppose. Well, I'm sure that won't have any lasting effects on the planet's climate. Let's fight the last gym leader. Egon is our lead of choice, with our stab Earthquake quickly taking down Juan's lead Love Disc. Seriously, they gave the gym leader a Love Disc? Jeez. Kingdra is up next, and yes, it does have Ice Beam, but it doesn't have the range to kill. And it also has 2 status moves, and AI just love their status moves. So we fire off 2 more Earthquakes, and down goes the Imposter Seahorse. Zelio has Stab on his Aurora Beam, and just to play it safe, we bring in Peter, who can spam Mystic Water boosted Surfs until it dies. Wishcash only has Earthquake and Water Pulse for attacking moves, making Winston an easy choice to bring in, set up a few Dragon Dances, then fire off Secret Powers to take down the fish. Water Pulse never confused us, but for the record, we are holding a Lumberry just in case. Crawdaunt needs no such worry, as it also goes down with just a few more secret powers. And with that, our rush through Hoenn is actually almost complete. All that lies ahead of us is the Pokemon League. Oh, and Wally. Hi, Wally. Bye, Wally. When we previously took dragons into Hoenn's Elite Four, we were decked out with all the items we could ever want. piles of leftovers, any moves we needed, you name it, we pretty much had it. This time, we are scouring every corner for TMs and tutors to get us the tools that we can use to successfully take down this final challenge, to truly cap off the Emerald Dragon-Only Nuzlocke once and for all. The Hoenn League is gonna see that every time I make my way back here, I'm only ever stronger than I was before. And the first member of that league is Sydney. Though as usual, he's a little bit of a pushover. In fact, we don't even ever need to switch out Peter. Mystic Water boosted Surf takes out Mighty Yenna, Ice Beam is more than enough for Shiftry and Cacturn, and another Surf will take down Absol. Phoebe proves to be slightly more difficult, but thanks to the substitute move tutor, Egon can take the lead and set himself up for success. In this generation, Curse can't affect us through a sub, so with Phoebe's lead Dusclops having 3 status moves that cannot touch us, we are free to attack and take it out without any issue. But the sub isn't set up for this Dusclops, no. It's actually for the second one that has Ice Beam. Ice Beam connects with our sub, but 2 Earthquakes from Egon take out the ghost before it has a chance to hit us for real. Holding us off sand, Earthquake will KO Banette, almost take out Sableye, but then we get him the next turn, and one final Banette falls to one final Earthquake. Oh, it feels good to still get use out of that move. But let's be real, we all know it. Those 2 were the easy ones. Up next is the Ice-type user, Glacia. She always gives me trouble. And today, we're going in with 4 Pokemon that comprise our entire team, 3 of which are not just weak to her, but 4 times weak to her. Our dragons are going to need all the help they can get to muscle past her team. And call me crazy, but we're going to start the fight off with Ray. Glacia's lead Celio, just like Phoebe's Dusclops, is actually the weaker of the 2 that she uses. Ice Ball doesn't quite KO us, so it will take the first turn to set up Hail. And that's fine by us, it's not really possible for us to avoid it entirely. Though we do try to get the flinch with a leading Headbutt, but we're not quite that lucky. Hail goes up, and we take down the sea lion with the Dragon Claw on the next turn. Glalie is up next in line, and with a held Charcoal, Flamethrower is just enough to take it down in a single hit. It's the next Celio where things start to pick up. But the only ice move that this one has is Blizzard. So really, we just need to run it out of PP and we're home free. Sort of. Protect on Ray will let us buy a turn, and then we're making use of Peter, who is the only one on our team to not be weak to ice. Awesome. Unfortunately, Peter is also a guy, and Celio is a gal, and Celio has Attract. Stupid Attract cheese, only I should get to do that. There's no real choice here but to try and fight through it though. If we switch anyone in on a Blizzard, it's lights out for them. But Peter sticks the landing with help from his newly learned Rest. Celio runs out of Blizzards, and we swap right on back to Ray to intimidate it and lower the power of its one remaining attack, Double Edge. We then begin a repeating pattern of swapping between the intimidating Ray and the one girl on our team, Egon. This is just to lower the attack of Celio as much as I'm comfortable doing. And this is done for 2 reasons. We want to minimize not only the damage that we are taking, but also the damage that Celio is dealing to itself with recoil so it doesn't accidentally knock itself out. We then bring back in Peter to rest up and try to get a bit more HP back, but we do have to stay in 2 turns just to make sure we wake up when he comes back out later. And then we can finally put our full plan to fruition. We bring back in Egon one more time, set up a substitute, and then we use 2 Earthquakes because I guess Glacia healed somewhere along the way, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, to take down the Celio for good. And with our sub staying intact, we can repeat the same strategy as we just did against Phoebe, tanking an ice move and 2-shotting the higher leveled Glalie. All that leaves is the very threatening Walrein. The good news is, Kingdra can take its ice beams pretty well. And it isn't just Rest that he's learned recently, as Toxic also makes an appearance. With our Citrus Berry buying us an extra turn to land the poisoning, we can alternate between Protect and Rest, stalling out the Walrus until it falls into the red and Glacia heals. Joke's on her though, because I've been keeping count, and Walrein is just about out of ice beams. Taking even less damage from Surf and Body Slam, it's over. Peter can land another Toxic and stall out the turns until it takes effect. Glacia is defeated with some smart stalling tactics, and next we're off to face against a fellow Dragon Tamer. Okay, but this one's a repeat performance of like every time I fight this guy. If you have Ice Beam on a Pokemon, you kinda just win. Kingdra has been the MVP for 2 of the last 3 Elite Four members. We can lead with her again, and we spam Ice Beam until every single one of Drake's dragons fall. They can't even take a single hit. And then Drake's own Kingdra takes center stage as the last Pokemon, and it's always going to be last here because it's the only one without a super effective move, so all the others come in first. But then that Kingdra can quickly succumb to Ray's Dragonclaw, who we switch out to because again, this Kingdra does not have any dragon moves. All that leaves is Wallace. Thanks to the addition of Bagon to our starting roster, we've been able to make it all the way here completely deathless, even without the extra tools I may have thought we needed in the past. Does that make this particular version of the run easier? I'd argue no, actually. Instead of having an easy to press high damage button, we really had to dig deep for strategies that could get us past fights that otherwise would have actually been a breeze. And that's all culminated to this moment where now we're facing off against the final boss to put a cap on the Emerald Dragon run for good. Wallace's lead Wailord does have Blizzard, but it may want to set up the Rain instead. But either way, just to be safe, we have Egon lead off with Protect. Sure enough, Blizzard. Great. Time to start the stall again. We set up a substitute the next turn, and Wailord misses the next Blizzard. Just what we needed. We Earthquake for free as the next Blizzard connects, and a second Earthquake grabs the KO. Next in line is Tentacruel, and we've purposely set it up this way for us to easily net a second knockout as it falls in just a single attack. Unfortunately, the next Pokemon in line to have a super effective move is also Wallace's ace, so now we're facing off against Milotic. We switch to Peter to take the incoming Ice Beam, and immediately get frozen solid. Well, that sucks. Lucky for us, we thaw out before too much damage can be done, but still. Peter's job is, once again, to stall out Ice Beams. Gotta run him out of ammunition so our other soldiers can march, right? Once Wallace is on empty, we swap out to Winston and fire off our secret weapon that we've been holding in the back all this time, Perish Song. And we're not worried about Toxic either, since Natural Cure will keep us status free as we swap right back to Peter. Wallace recalls Milotic as its timer ticks down, so our free switch turn keeps us ahead in the fight. And that's because against Gyarados, we have to play it super safe. It can Dragon Dance all it wants, but its only physical moves are Earthquake and Hyper Beam. If it doesn't see a KO with Hyper Beam, it will not use it. So it alternates between Surf and Earthquake just as often as we're alternating between Ray and Peter, capitalizing on Intimidate to keep its attack low. Satisfied with our progress, we keep Ray in to Dragon Claw the Serpent to death, forcing out 2 of Wallace's potions. And funny enough, I guess Hyper Beam can also be used if the AI knows they're going to be knocked out anyway, because it definitely didn't have a kill here, but went for it regardless. Whatever, it doesn't change anything on our end, and Gyarados falls. Milotic is back out, so we pivot through Peter, who takes the free turns to rest and heal himself back up. Then we bring out Winston to Perish Song the Milotic once again. Then we bring back in Peter early and start spamming Ice Beam. Both of Wallace's remaining Pokemon in the back, Ludicolo and Wishcash, are neutral to the move, so it will grant us free damage as one of them switches in. Feels good to be on the other end of that interaction for once. Ludicolo wants to be a problem so badly with Double Team, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, but after getting a few hits in and resting off the damage, we bring Winston right back in for his other secret job. He's got Aerial Ace. Ludicolo falls. Milotic back out, tries to Toxic, gets Perish Songed. You know the drill. It switches out, Peter is in, a couple surfs later, and yeah, we give up because Amnesia makes breaking through him very annoying. Sadly for it, Wishcash has the same attacking moves as Gyarados, just without any way to actually boost its attack. So a couple Intimidates do wonders, allowing Ray to take out the fish with Headbutt. Finally, with nowhere left to run, only Milotic remains. There is nothing it can do anymore to stop the inevitable clock as Perish Song ticks down, bringing our fight to an end. Wallace is defeated. The entire Hoenn region is. Once again, they fall to our team of dragons. History can be made in many different ways. The path you choose to make it is what makes it worth telling in the first place. Player defeated. Well, almost. I mean, if we're revisiting dragons in Emerald, it only makes sense to take them the extra mile this time, right? Don't get used to it. Post-game Steven is probably the easiest fight in the entire game. I will die on this hill. Egon sets up his favorite substitute as Skarmory goes for spikes. 2 flamethrowers later and the bird takes a permanent nap. We've now perfectly lined up 2 more KOs as well, with Aggron coming in next and falling to 1 Earthquake, and Metagross following suit and falling to 2. Claydolph stubbornly holds on against Peter surfing, with Steven even trying to heal it out of danger, but 2 more seal the deal and wash it away, though not before it does set up dual screens. Sadly for him, Steven's Credilli does not have Storm Drain, but that does not stop it from being very bulky and taking Surf extremely well. Too bad we can just swap right back to Egon, get a sub up to avoid Confuse Ray, fire off some Earthquakes, and barely miss the KO as Steven heals again. Damn. Well, we've come this far. I don't need to lose him on here. Let's bring in Winston. Credilli is rooted because of Ingrain, meaning it cannot switch out. So an easy Perish Song and a few turns of waiting will grant us a free KO. And that just leaves Armaldo. It doesn't take Surf very well. Now, we're done. 8 gyms, 4 rivals, 4 evil team leaders, 4 league members, 1 champion, and 1 Steven Stone. Player defeated them all and beat Pokémon Emerald. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really, truly do appreciate it. This was my first time doing any kind of revisit to a previous challenge, and honestly, I know I said it a lot at the beginning, but I had a lot of fun with it. The entire journey to get here, I had a lot of fun with. So thank you guys for being along on that journey with me. A very special thank you to our channel members and top supporters for helping me be able to continue to create content just like this. But just as big a thank you to you for watching this video all the way to the end. Truly, it means a lot. Leave a comment down below about what challenges you'd like to see me take on next, except for the Pikachu Nuzlocke. That one is happening. It's in the works. It's coming out this year. But until then, I am all out of time for this video, so I will just have to catch y'all in the next run. See ya.